Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 for this Sunday night. I'm Gav, and with me I have Kev, Keith, and Seany after Liverpool have won the FA Cup on penalties against Chelsea at Wembley yesterday, and the league is still there. Whisper it. This show is brought to you by Féileacáin. They are a charity partner for this season, and we will talk about them a little bit later on. But I'm going to start off, Seany, straight into it. Loads of people in watching. Loads of people haven't hit the like button, but they will, Seany, I promise you, before you start fucking losing the head of them, and quite rightfully so, to be perfectly honest. But if they're watching, hit the like, subscribe, share, all that messing. But most importantly, as we always say, stick your comments in the chat and we'll read them out. Seany, Liverpool and Chelsea are deadly at serving up some of the best 0-0 draws you will ever see, particularly in big games. Discuss.
Yeah. They've been two really good finals, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I seen some people saying that was a poor final. I thought it was a great final. I think I had everything. I think it was played in the right spirit as well. There wasn't much shithousing going on, or silica fouling, or time wasting or anything. I actually thought it was played in the right spirit. I thought kind of ebbed and flowed. It was a bit like a boxing match. Us forced 20, they had a rip, then we had a rip, and then it died down, and then it'd go again, and it was brilliant. Although Chelsea are miles off us in the league, they are a very good side, to be honest with you. They're a particularly difficult side to break down. They're tough to beat. And I think that's credit to Tuchel for the way he set them up. They've reached every cup final bar one since he's come in, so it was exactly what I expected. People coming around saying, they were really confident that we'd smash them. I just didn't see it. Cup finals are always cagey, and that's exactly what it was. But if I'm being honest, we could have had the game dead and buried after 20 minutes.
We could have. I mean, we'll get into it because I just thought it was a great final. Like you were saying, people are saying it was a poor final. I don't know what they were watching. You know, I don't know. Do you just have to have loads of goals to make it a good final? I thought it was really.
I think the reason it was a poor final is because it ended up in Liverpool winning the trophy.
Yeah.
It's just that it's anything they can do to detract now, because I won't say what I was watching, and I don't know why I was watching it earlier on, but it was a comment that was made, and I honest to God, this fella was an ex-professional footballer. Basically turned around and said, Klopp's done a great job of getting there, but they just don't seem to be able to put it together in finals. But although winning two of them, so if that's not putting it together in finals, I don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah. Well, of course, we did have the stuff yesterday where Liverpool fans had the gall to stand up for their beliefs and boo the national anthem, and for it to be made out like they were booing Prince William, I think it was, which is complete and utter horseshit. Because the way Britain is at the minute, it's an absolute fucking cesspit for most people that live in it. When you speak to them, they're being priced out of living, essentially. And Liverpool have seen this and have taken this for years and years and years, and continue to stand up against the British government and the people in charge in that country, and rightfully so. But the big thing that came out of it yesterday, and the headlines this morning, was Liverpool boo this and Liverpool boo that. You wouldn't have heard a thing about Liverpool booing if Chelsea were holding that FA Cup at whatever time yesterday evening. Let's be honest about it. Keith, are Chelsea a cup side?
They're a very good cup side. They're a very good.
Sorry,
cup side.
I mean, what I mean by that is, is that where their progression is at the minute? Because you see progression in teams where they're cup sides and then they progress to strong in the league. Do you know the sort of way? Is that where they are?
Yeah, you see, Chelsea are in that sort of space now where they should be, if they're not the third best team in the league. Now, they're making it hard for themselves, as they did last season. But we've said it a million times on this show. What Liverpool and Man City are doing is just taking the rule book nearly and ripping it up and throwing it away. Do you know what I mean? Like, where 90-point seasons are becoming normalised, where draws are becoming as bad as defeats. To break that, you have to do something special. And I think, Chelsea, whilst being a very good team, are perhaps better as a cup side now, where they can do their damage, because they're hard to break down. They always are. I said it at the start of the season when we played them in Anfield and they had a man sent off and people were going apeshit that we couldn't beat them with 10 men. Chelsea are such a well-drilled side. They're up there with like Atletico Madrid as one of the best drilled teams in a defensive set that you'll find in the world. you know, and it's really hard. Them losing a defender and putting on another defender, all it's doing is taking away an attacker out of them. That still is hard to break down. That still is hard to break through. And that's how they always have been. It's how they will be. Even though it's maybe not Tuchel's natural game, he knows the players that he has, and that's the best way forward of doing it. So a cup team, yeah, you can go into these cup games and you can, you know, they have quality that they can have a go and they can, you know, go to Real Madrid and have to get goals, and they'll do their best to do that. But I think their best chance is in a cup, because over the league season at the moment, to topple the two juggernauts that are there, you have to be really, really special. And there's no other team. We said at the start of the season, there's no other team capable of doing 90 plus points. There's no one capable of getting that mentality right, because Manchester United were touted as an early season favourite as well for the league, and we all said it here. Couldn't say it. Chelsea couldn't say it. We were maybe optimistic that Liverpool could get back to that, but we knew we had that in our locker, and it's come to pass. You know that's what you need to do. So Chelsea, there you never walk alone. 97 is right. You could beat anyone in a one-off game. They're a hard team. They're a good team. They're a quality team with a quality manager. And we just came out on top. You know, this nonsense about, you know, getting to finals, as Shawnee said, and not being able to put it together. Like, how many finals do teams go and obliterate other teams? You know, like Man City can do that against Watford, but Man City and Watford, do you know what I mean? Like, it's when you're looking at elite teams in finals, you'll never get a slaughterhouse like that. So I don't care how we do it. I don't care if we get draws with them. And this nonsense about, Chelsea fans are going mad, like, you couldn't beat us and you think is at this. Couldn't give a shit, mate. 2 trophies. You'd do it on the day, the whole day. The game doesn't stop after 90 minutes.
But we did beat them.
No, but the same, we drew.
No, we won. They give a trophy to the winner.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
How you determine how it's won.
On the flip side is, they're going on about this. They've played us in 4 games this season. They haven't beaten us once.
Exactly. Yeah. And we got two pots for not beating them.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, the narratives are going to be bended and molded to suit. Like,
it's getting funnier now, isn't it?
You know what? Just going on what like the other dickhead said during the week, and you all know who I'm talking about at this stage because he's just ranting at him so much.
Oh yeah.
That the media is on our side. Well, I hope he bought a copy of the Daily Mail today, the Mail on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he has some sort of Twitter burner where he can see we're nobody's fault.
No.
Favourite. We're the absolute, and that's the way it's always been. That's the way it can continue to be. So where this narrative comes from, that we are media darlings or everybody's favourite, it's absolute nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. And I get it. I understand it. Nobody has to listen to Chelsea or Man City fans. Not here, not this side of the pond anyway. Very few of them. So I get it. I'd probably be the same. I'd went to work tomorrow and I knew there was a Chelsea fan there. I'd be fucking dreading it. Even next week where they might win the league. Yeah, it'll annoy me because we'd be second, but I won't be listening to a City fan on a Monday. But imagine being a United fan in the office and we walk in next week after pipping the league down to play a Champions League final. You'd be fucking throwing yourself off buildings.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you're a City fan, if you're a United fan and City win it next season, you'd be high-fiving them when they come into the job next week because that's how it's gone. With regards to the person you're speaking about, he's made comments with regards to us being the media darlings, which is fucking so far off, it's untrue. And then about the money, and I seen a brilliant breakdown. A fella done a breakdown of the spending in the Football League from every 1980 year, to 1995 or something like that. It was mid-late 70s then to early 90s. He listed all the fucking transfers Liverpool have done, the net spend in them all, and where they ranked in highest spending. Liverpool in those 16 years spent the most money twice in the summer deals. So he absolutely copped that fella on the volley. It's Pep Guardiola. We know who it is. But
in case anyone's wondering,
you know, asking in the chat. But look, getting back to it, Kev, I want to ask you a question. And is Tuchel under pressure at Chelsea? Right, before we get into the game, this is why I put this to you. You know, I don't really care what happened to him. I'm not as big a fan. Everyone knows that. But his comments during the week about, Jurgen Klopp has managed to make Liverpool the underdog against Villarreal, stuff along these lines, and then naming Lukaku in his side instead of Kai Havertz. It's like it's a bit of a kickback from Thomas Tuchel. I don't know if I'm right, but I just looked at that team and I went, what?
I think he'd have been in trouble if Roman Abramovich was still in charge. The Kai Havertz one, he was injured. He had a late fitness test and failed it. So he had hamstring issues, didn't train in the build up to it, failed the fitness test in the morning, so he didn't play. The one change that happened that threw me, well, there was two. There was the one where he brought on Ruben Loftus-Cheek and took him off for Ross Barkley.
Yeah, penalties.
Yeah.
And left Timo Werner on the bench.
Yeah,
and,
he was a penalty taker as well.
It's not just the fact that he's a penalty taker. It's they were well in it, especially in extra time. They had a chance to go and win it, and they left a pace merchant on the bench to bring on a penalty taker with a couple of minutes to go, and subbing the sub on top of some of the other weird decisions he made is baffling, to say the least. But saying that, it was such an even game. If either side had won it in 120 minutes by the odd goal, we'd been more disappointed because I think we had better chances, but we didn't take them. And if Chelsea had took one of theirs, we couldn't complain because we had the opportunities in the 120 to take it into our own hands, and we didn't take it. But it was a fabulous game of football. But the thing that will save Tommy Tuchel is the instability that's in the club at the minute. They need that deal to go through. They need the Premier League to sign off on it. And there's a massive rebuild that needs to happen at Chelsea. They're losing an awful lot of good players this summer. And signing the likes of Ivan Perisic on a free just ain't going to cut it. They're in danger of dropping out.
Is he signing him? Is Alonso on the way out?
Possibly.
Yeah, because Ivan
Perisic on a freebie.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that?
Because it's been announced in the last few days that it's done, but nothing.
But how are you allowed to do that? They shouldn't be allowed to negotiate with anybody.
But
he's out of contract.
He's out of contract. You only have to talk to his agent.
Yeah, but Chelsea aren't allowed to offer any money to anybody.
No, they're allowed to
offer. No, but they're allowed to talk to him.
Like texting him and saying, "Hey, does you want to play for us?" Yeah.
Well, then it's not. Well, then it's not done because Chelsea can't announce the thing.
They're allowed to talk to him and say like a deal in principle.
Yeah.
And no deal is ever going to go through until July 1st anyway. And by then, a deal for Chelsea should be over the line. If it's not, Chelsea will cease to exist as a football club.
They'll do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
But that's the reality of where they are at the minute. They have a deadline that they have to meet to get this over the line. And either the UK government are going to have to bend and change their rules, which opens a whole other floodgate to other oligarchs who are sanctioned in the country, which they don't want to do because that will just make them look like complete idiots even more than what they are.
This is all the film news, Colin. Chelsea aren't going to the ground. Don't be silly.
No, I don't think they're going to the ground, but I know what Kev is saying.
I'd imagine there's no even fucking drama with it. It'll all be sorted. Yeah, man, Bowley's at the games and all.
Yeah, that's done. It's just getting it over the line.
I think what Kev is trying to say is that they need to get it. They need to get it done and announced. Because
Emmett's saying there
simply for the impression that the British government are giving of themselves. I agree. I kind of agree with that. Because they have to, if a bidder fucks around in any way, the government can't sway at all on it.
I'll tell you what's going to happen there, right? That's going to go to the last day, and Sky are going to make a big rigmarole out of it, and it'll all be sorted, no drama.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
The fact that they're letting them even get to this stage in it, it was sanctions, can't do any business, but then they're making exceptions to allow them to do this and allow them. They're always going to get that sale through. It's just who are they giving it to? Do you know what I mean?
It's if Roman turns up and decides,
Look, if it was Derby County or another club in the EFL, I might probably worrying
But
about
not one of their big clubs.
not a big club, not like Chelsea, because
No.
the boys, at the end of the day, you need to realise that there's a squad of 22 players who are probably playing the guts of 80-90 million a year in tax between the whole lot of them into the economy, and that's all they cared about is, are we going to have all these lads on the big fat contracts who are probably taxing 40 to 50%? That's the way they look at it. They don't give a shit about anything else. It's all shite by the newspapers to make it more of a drama than it already is. It's all it's like when you read about something going to happen to City every time about these points deductions.
Investigations.
It's sensationalism and shite. That's all it is.
Well, Shawnee, let's get away from the sensationalism and shite, and let's talk. I'm not going to go through the game. We can pick up on bits as we go, right? Because I'd rather talk about some players, because a lot stood out for me in different ways yesterday. So, Shawnee, I'm going to give you first shot on Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because 23 years of age, he's won a league title, FA Cup, League Cup, European Cup, World Club Cup, European Super Cup. He's been in the Premier League Team of the Year and the World Team of the Year, I think, by 23. I might have the words of them wrong, but you know where I'm going with it. And I'm giving it to you first because I think it was you tweeted, or you might have sent me a message and you went, listen, anyone that tells you this fella can't defend or is trying to throw at him just doesn't watch football, because I thought he was ridiculous yesterday.
Yeah, he was incredible. And he has been defensively of recent. I know there's moments against Féileacáin, but if you look at the whole, he's been absolutely unbelievable going both ways. And I think yesterday was a game where you could say, now, not that he was bad for going forward, but I actually thought defensively he was better than he was offensively yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought he was unbelievable. And going back to what Kev said, I think it was about Alonso, Alonso's a class player, let's be honest.
Alonso is very good.
Yeah. There's a lot not to like about him, but the fella's, he's cultured, he's quality. He gets into most teams in Europe, I reckon, to be honest with you, as a left wing back. He was their main outlet yesterday, and Trent was absolutely brilliant. He makes some brilliant big defensive clearances. I thought his positioning was great at times. There's a couple of times when there was balls clipped in and he's just denying it with blocks, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. And you see him turning out a performance like that in the final. It's mad. This kid is 23. You could literally hang them up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Again, there will be detractors. They'll be comparing them to others, but just don't listen to it, because I'm going to be honest with you, these people don't know fuck all about football. If you're going to tell me that Trent can't defend, or he's not the best right back in the world. It's like Floyd Mayweather's outfit used to say when critics used to pick people to beat him. He just used to laugh and say, these people don't know shit about boxing. These people don't know shit about football. That right Trent off, because he is, I'm going to use one that the kids say, he is Mbappe levels of generational talent in my eyes. I genuinely believe that. He is a generational talent. I believe he is one of the fullbacks where you look at and you go, my God, he is he's different. What's the story with him? Why isn't everybody like him? All right, there's young fellas coming through now that are going to play like him, who are going to model their games off him, and you might see someone in that role. He's redefining what it is to play that role. His range of passing, his technique, he's absolutely fucking unbelievable.
His stamina is fucking incredible.
Yeah. Look, he's a machine, Gav. He's a machine,
and he's getting bigger, stronger. Yeah. You know, and it's quicker. Not. It's some people get bigger and stronger, and their body mass goes up, and they lose that. He's not losing it.
The big thing for me is you can see it in him. He's a winner now. Do you know, When people turn around and say, "Oh, look, they're a team of winners," like that Barca team, like that Real Madrid team, you can see it in him. You seen him yesterday. He was going up to take the penalty. Just ice cold. The kid is unbelievable. Honestly, I could sit here waxing lyrical about him all night. We could literally do an hour podcast on him. Do a 2-hour podcast on him. I'm a bit hardy for favourite footballers, to be honest with you. But kid screams at me.
But his poster is on my bedroom wall.
I'm not joking. If I was a 12, 13-year-old lad, I know for a fact I'd be out smashing balls all over the place, trying to replicate his technique, trying to be like him, because
trying to grow dreadlocks and all.
Yeah,
he's a role model. He's a scouser. He's from West Derby, and he's literally won everything at club level. Like, he could hang them up tomorrow. The fella is ridiculous. He's 23, and the scary thing is he's only going to evolve and get even better, because
he turns into a powerhouse, Shawnee. He looks to me like a power.
We only said this about people digging him out about his defensive acumen, but try tell me another player at 23 years of age in the fullback position that was cultured and the finished article as a defensive player at 23. There hasn't been any.
Yeah, but Johnny, you have to look at it like this.
There's loads of good ones.
Yeah, but you have to look at it like this, right? Listen, Seamus Coleman, right? Seamus Coleman, when he went to Everton, was on 80 grand or something from Sligo Rovers, right? And was linked with Arsenal and Manchester United in 25, 30 million pound moves, going back probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? And it was around the time Moyes took over United, so you're looking more close to 10 years, right? Seamus Coleman had a great engine on him. Good defensively, got forward, was cool enough when he went forward, right? And he was okay. Good defender, right? What you're watching in the 10 years since with Trent is, I find it funny when people talk about his defensive acumen, because they are putting him up there and saying, this guy is literally running football games, right? Literally running football games from an inside right position. And we've seen it loads. He just drifts in 20 yards from the touchline, on the halfway line is going, right, give me the ball. He is running games from where Beckham used to run football games from, right? He is on the wing, putting crosses in, and he's back defending. And the only thing you can throw at this guy is, well, sometimes he's not back there defending. What more do you want this guy to do? It's so close to the complete package. It's actually untrue. Before we move on, I have to answer this. John Finnegan can't see the Telegram link anywhere, right? The Telegram is an app that you download. The Telegram app on your phone, iPhone, Android, wherever it is. Download the Telegram app. Go into our YouTube channel, subscribe, and when you subscribe, you can go to the community tab. In the community tab, you will see a post. It's probably the second post down, starting with all the chat in one place. And there's a little link with Leveler written on it. You click on that, you go in, you register, and then you end up in all the different chats on Telegram. Anyway, Trent, he is so close. You know, the biggest thing, Shawnee, the passes yesterday, brilliant. The biggest thing for me is he has that look on his face as if to say, I belong here. I am fucking deadly. And there's a little bit of arrogance to him, and I like it.
You're absolutely nuts and off your head if you didn't think he was thinking, if I win this today, I've won it all.
Yeah.
And that's the winning mentality. And you know, the reason you know that's true is because the first thing he posted after he wins the game is a picture of him at the FA Cup and with the caption, completed the set.
Yeah.
That's his mindset.
Yeah.
So he know, and he would have been thinking to himself, I'm not fucking... Gav, the mentality monsters thing, it's one of them fucking soundbitey shy things that I don't really subscribe to. I don't, and even the quad show, or fucking Jurgen quad, I think it's all shite that's built, that's drummed out by the media that people latch onto. But you can't actually deny it with this team. It's fucking mad. There's 23-year-olds and 22-year-olds performing like season vets. Like, it's fucking mad. Now, he's played a lot of football. Don't get me wrong. But there's no way that a young player, 23 years of age, should have any business, like, literally running world football from his position. Because that's what he's doing. He's won a lot. Like, he could be 25, 26 and have ended up winning everything twice. What is even the point? Seriously.
Going into his third Champions League final at 23, like.
The fella is unbelievable. And you know what? There's loads of comparisons. And I'm going to be honest with you. Reece James is a fucking brilliant player.
But he's not Trent Alexander-Arnold.
No. He's a brilliant player.
I understand. Yeah. I understand why he's behind all them. I understand why Gareth Southgate doesn't play him ahead of Reece James, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, Wan-Bissaka, because he's not a fullback. He's not a fullback that we all know. He's a different player. He's created this niche, and he'll always get caught on the defensive side of it because he's not a fucking defender. You know what I mean? He's a brilliant defender.
It's a lack of trust.
Further up.
It's
His
a lack of
position is
trust
forward.
by managers.
Yeah.
Southgate
Yeah,
doesn't
but
trust him
look,
to go and do that.
You know what it is, Gav? He's a bit of a maverick, all right? Let's be honest. Trent is a bit of a maverick. And to manage mavericks, you have to have a bit of bollocks about you.
Yeah, exactly.
Gareth Southgate is a geography teacher. He's a boring bollocks. I'd say he eats vanilla ice cream. I'd say he orders fucking cocktail sausages and chips when he goes into the restaurant. He's a big child.
Cocktail sausages and chips.
He's boring. That's why
I'm not another can for that. That's amazing.
And he'd be looking at someone like Trent going, "Oh, this fucking kid, I can't handle him. I can't fit him into a team." Do you want to know why? Because he's different.
Yeah.
But the difference is,
run all day up and down. These fellas play it safe, Gav.
Yeah.
Southgate plays it safe to keep his
but
job.
it's a lack of trust. It is a lack of trust, isn't it?
It's not about trust. It's just plays it safe. I'm going to play Kyle Walker, who's faster than shite off a shovel, at right side centre back, and I'll play another fella who can double down and defend on that side, who will sit in like Kieran Trippier, who's playing for fucking Atletico Madrid, and I'll make sure nothing comes down that side where there's no risk, no reward. But I look at the teams that have won international tournaments. That there's an element of risk somewhere with them all. The great Brazil teams, even that Italy team, they had a mad formation in midfield. You just let it run. England are too regimented. He's fucking playing Harry Maguire in there. Do you know why? Because he'll head balls all day. That's the thing. When you're talking about Trent, should not go fucking near the conversation of England because they haven't got someone there who's worthy of managing them. Look at Eriksen. Look at Eriksen. Another boring shy. I'd say he fucking did audits on his jocks and sock straws. He's just boring as fuck. And what did he do when he had all of those midfielders? I don't know what to do. They can't play together. I'm going to throw Scholes out in the wing. Play the safe. Yeah. Stupid. No balls. And that's why they won't win anything. And that's why Trent shouldn't feel fucking hard done by, because it won't be until a manager like, say, Graham Potter got that England job.
Yeah.
He'd have Trent starting every week.
He needs Kev Keegan to come back. That's what he needs. He needs Kev Keegan to go, right, I'm here and we're playing.
He needs
Trent.
to retire from England. He needs to retire from
That's exactly what he does.
Here.
That's exactly what needs to happen. Because I believe it's I don't know. No, it's probably not a lack of trust in Trent. It's a lack of bravery in football managers. Jurgen Klopp is extremely brave to tell Trent, and to a certain extent, and sometimes more, to tell Andy Robertson, you go out there and play your game. You defend, okay, but we want you high up the pitch. Don't worry about the two centre halves have it. Fabinho will be there. It'll be grand. And we go from there. And Klopp is extremely brave in what he does. And because of that, Trent is doing a job where he is literally, he's looking after the whole thing going forward at times. Like, literally the whole thing. Like, give it to fucking Trent and he'll put a ball in the box or he'll hit a split and pass or he'll just, brilliant stuff all the time. And at the same time, he's able to go back. How many goals Liverpool conceded? And then when you break down how many goals Liverpool have conceded against where they came from, right? What happens is he doesn't get up for a header away to Villarreal and people go, he can't defend. I seen the fella in the WhatsApp group, right? Nothing to do with Liverpool. He is atrocious defensively. And I went, you don't watch Liverpool. Now shut the fuck up because you don't know what you're talking about. He's missed one header because he didn't jump. Right, Grant. Right? Me and Shawnee had a row, didn't we? Over Trent's thing on a goal a couple of weeks ago. But then you look at him the other day and people are going, oh, what about Trent for the Spurs goal? Trent was caught at the Spurs goal, not knowing whether to go with a player or stand off. And that can happen. But when you see that they are like literally incidents that happen every fucking couple of months and then they go, he can't defend. Where the fuck were you for the last 6 months when Liverpool are beating everyone, not conceding any goals? And this prick's playing every game. He's playing every fucking game. 90 minutes, he doesn't come off. He's playing, I would say he's probably played more minutes.
Back to the in terms of the game. Look at yesterday. The early chances Diaz gets. Look at Reece James trying to get back in.
Yeah,
he's miles up the pitch because he's playing, and he plays in the back five.
Correct.
And he's getting exposed like that.
Yeah. I think Reece James would be brilliant for Liverpool if Trent wasn't there, because Klopp would do the same to him that he's done. But what happens with Reece James at Chelsea is, listen, we put him in a back four and they've looked exposed, every single one of them, for different reasons. Rudiger's not a good defender. Thiago Silva's old. He's not quick enough. Alonso's more of a wing back than a fullback. James is the same.
There's been a few hatchet jobs done on Trent in the media, I feel. I don't know whether you think that's probably overboard, but I do. I feel like sometimes the soonest they get the opportunity to attack him, it's like, this is why he doesn't play for England, and this is why that. And he's come back every single time. Remember when there was talk of him being left out of the squad for the Euros, remember? And then he gets injured.
His own manager.
Everyone was saying, poor Trent, and pointing on Trent, and he's not going to make it. And they did. He picked him in the end. Obviously, unfortunately for him, he has to sit it out because he gets injured. But the fella has brains to bone. He's balls of steel as well, and he has the ability to match it. And the thing is, they can turn around now. If he was from Brazil, let's say, they'd be saying Madrid, Barcelona, they all want him. Bayern are ready to play him this X amount. The fella's a scouser. He's not going anywhere. The chances are he's going to play at Liverpool for the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
10 years.
10 years. He'll go down for me as the best fullback that's ever played at Liverpool. And I include
23 years of age, and he already is, Gav.
Well, I don't know if he is. I think trophies-wise, because we're talking about completing sets and stuff like that, Phil Neal has more bleeding trophies in his gaff than Everton have.
Yeah, Phil Neal's a player, but let's be fucking honest.
Yeah, but in that time, Phil Neal was fucking ridiculously good.
In this era, he's untouchable. You look at his social media feed, and he's quote tweeted a congratulations message that he got from Dani Alves. You know, so don't tell me that world football is not looking at what these players are putting out on social media. They are, you know, everyone in the game is watching.
Fabregas was giving it to him yesterday, was he?
Fabregas just put up TAA. Wow.
Yeah.
And he's a former Chelsea player.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Arsenal, but he's a football player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at he's a football man. You look at Fabregas, and he's done it before with watching Liverpool. He's blown away by what we're doing as a club. And you talked about Trent's defensively. I honestly thought he was running in treacle during injury time, and then he went and pulled off a clearance from a cross that was going right onto Alonso's foot. And his engine is unreal. The mentality to stay switched on for that 120 minutes and then have the composure to go and take a penalty. The fullback position in our football team is the one where you need to be the fittest.
It's different than any other fullback in any other team in the world, I think.
I think you'll cover more yards as a fullback for Liverpool than you will do than any other player on the pitch. And the fact that he's doing that with a consistency of appearances and performances, he has the odd dip. Who doesn't? But when you're coming from a dip,
doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, but you're coming from a dip where his average performance is 8.5 a game. He's coming down to a 7, and you start to notice his 7 out of 10 performance. Whereas most players go through a Premier League season will be 7 out of 10 with the odd 8.5 thrown in the mix, and you're a good player then. He's consistently an 8.5 out of 10 all season.
Dani Alves is his peer. Defenders are not his peers. You know, if you want to compare them with a fullback, Dani Alves played essentially as a right winger for Barcelona. He wasn't a fullback. He played so far up the pitch. He was a right winger playing alongside Messi in tandem with him. He knows what's what. He knows the game. He knows the attacking threat that Trent Alexander has. Cesc Fabregas is one of the best passing midfield players Europe has ever had. Very underrated.
Liverpool.
He was amazing. See, his problem was he went to Barcelona and he was behind the two best. Do you know what I mean? And he just couldn't break in. And he knows what's what. You know, listen to these boys. Don't listen to Gareth Southgate because he's a shy bag. Listen to Cesc Fabregas and listen to Dani Alves and listen to every other bit of quality that will big up Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Don't listen to Jason Cundy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't listen to the no marks on talk.
But you know something, Jono says here, and I vaguely remember this, and one of you might remember, he says, a journal ripped Trent in a game that he didn't even play in. And I vaguely remember this, where the journalist went off about on Trent being out of position and this, that, and the other. And it turns out Trent didn't play. So if anyone remembers that game, I do vaguely remember it because it was hilarious.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Shawnee, I'm going to come back to you. And centre half pairing. Virgil van Dijk, looked fairly livid on the bench when he comes off. But the word is that he says afterwards, muscles were tired. I had to trust Joel to go on and finish the job, and thankfully he did. And he did trust Joel, by the way. That was his quote. And Van Dijk is Van Dijk, but can we talk about Ibrahim and Konate? Because if ever I've seen so many players over the years being moulded at Liverpool. Moulded for this position, moulded for that, moulded to be, the heir to this throne and the heir to that throne, right? But this guy, the way they're bringing him in and literally just hopping him into big games and go and play. You're 22 or 23 years of age, go and play the game, and they fully know that in 2 or 3 years, right, probably less than that, maybe, Matip mightn't be there, right? But this fella, Seany, when I see him play every time, there's always little mistakes, but I just think he's an absolute monster. And he's bigger than Van Dijk, and he's wider than Van Dijk, but he plays football. He tackles, he passes, he's a goal threat. He's an absolute snip at 46 million, Seany. An absolute snip.
Gav, to be honest with you, at 47 minutes in, I'm at the tearing the bollocks out of Trent, so I'd be happy for any one of the lads to have a go at Konate there, because if you were to allow me, then honestly the boys wouldn't get a word in edgeways.
Well then shut the fuck up, Seany.
I'll just say one thing. I'm blown away by his ability and his composure for his age, and I genuinely do believe that he's going to be one of the dominant centre backs for the next decade, and that's all I'll say.
Keith, he is just the way it's being brought in, and the way he's being trusted. Because we've seen so many players at Liverpool where you see 6 months, you don't see much of him, and he gets dropped in here, taken out. Where it's like every big game, fuck him in, doesn't matter. We've 2 massive games this week. Yeah, throw him in. We do Matip at the end of the week. It's no big deal, and there's just something about him, Keith, where I just look at. I've seen really good defenders, and I go, bit clumsy. Are they quick enough? Are they good enough in the air? He's so good in the air. He's good on the ground. He's lightning fast. He can tackle. He's a goal threat. There's so much to him, Keith, where you just turn around and you go, Liverpool are probably going to have to move this process on very quickly to where he's literally just the number 1 defender at Liverpool Football Club. Right, or the number 1 partner for Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool Football Club, because that is what he's looking like.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Look, he's 22 years old. He doesn't have a weakness. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mad. All players do have faults and flaws. We know that. You don't usually see a player his size that quick. You don't usually see a player his size that good with
acceleration being that quick. When they get going, they're quick.
Yeah, but his acceleration is lightning quick. He's lightning quick. He's Joe Gomez, but bigger. Do you know what I mean?
I always imagine him if he ran in slippers. You run quicker in your slippers than you run.
Well, that's a scientific fact.
That's a fact.
We know that.
But imagine Konate running in the slippers. I think he'd be lethal.
Yeah. But someone said it there.
Fucking quality.
He's unbelievable. Someone said it there. He eats up forwards. I mean, imagine you're in a team now, and this is what is. Yeah, you've Virgil van Dijk playing on one side. So they naturally target the other side where Trent and Matip would have been thinking, right, Matip maybe isn't as fast. Trent goes into them forward position so you can get in there. You can't do it with Konate there because he fucking eats up the ground. He's like a racehorse. He just gets back and then he comes at you and he's about 20 stone flying through the air at you. And how do you defend him? I think he's brilliant. We've said it a long time. When the shit happened last summer and last year and the players all got injured, the centre backs, he was the one they wanted. And when you listen to some of the reports out there, he was linked. We had Leipzig in the Champions League. Couldn't happen in January. We couldn't make it happen in January. And they were talking about 80 million prices. We go, and as soon as we can announce him, we announced him. 36 million. He's the one they wanted. And you can see why he's the one they wanted. He's absolutely unbelievable. Every game, you're amazed by him. He makes a mistake against Benfica. We spoke about that. But he doesn't let it get to him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's 22 years old. He doesn't let it get to him.
And nobody babies him after it. Like, the easiest thing to do with a 21-year-old defender is, if he makes a mistake, is to go, right, let's get around them. When he has the ball, let's get around him. If they're attacking down his side, let's put more men in there and baby him for 15 minutes. They don't. Just keep playing. Just keep saying, you're grand. You made a mistake. Van Dijk does it. Matip, everyone does it. Go on.
After Milan away, Ibrahimovic came out after the game.
Yeah.
Saying the kid is a monster. What a player he's going to be. Had nothing but high praise for him.
And he says nothing nice about anyone.
No, and he mauls Zlatan.
Yeah. And he's a big fucker as well, Zlatan. People don't realise how big he is.
Well, Zlatan is 6'4", and Zlatan is one of these guys who knows how to use his body in such a way as to manipulate referees, manipulate defenders, and he's elite. He is an elite striker, elite player, one of the best of centre forwards of his generation. And to come out and say something like that about Ibou Konate is, telling. Keith, you picked Konate early when you were looking at him.
Keith lives off this show along with going to see Brentford.
But Keith,
that's going to be on the gravestone these days.
It will be, but
on it as well, because I touted him as well.
when you see someone that young, and you think, if you're looking at different sports, I look at Jonah Lomu. Jonah Lomu for New Zealand came in, and he was he changed the position.
I couldn't believe the shit I seen when I seen Jonah Lomu in the 95 World Cup, I think it was. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Cat wakes up in the middle of the night.
He trampled over about 7 English players.
But it's like, is someone that big, that tall, that strong, shouldn't be that fast? Konate is similar in that he's that big, he's that strong, and he's that fast. He's going to be the example for your 18, 19, your Billy Kemetios of the world coming through. That's what you need to aspire to be. You need to aspire at 17 to 19 to be the next Ibou Konate, because
that pace is
it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary what he's going to be at 26. It's scary what he's going to be at 26.
That's
Someone put it in a comment in the chat earlier on. Marcel Desailly 2.0. And
well, if you're any way close to Marcel Desailly, you're absolutely flying. Days. And Dicko says that Shilton has kicked off about us doing his anthem. Shilton, as in Peter Shilton, he's an absolute sap, paying no attention.
Want to go away and learn how to jump.
He's an absolute sap.
That's how Maradona was it?
Yeah, that's the fella that lost the header to Maradona, and it was a header. Didn't even touch his hand. It's a bit like Thiago's goal, never touched the ground. But Peter Shilton, I think there was something happened with him a while back. I must remember. Even Mike McCardle is a great show. He says even Konate's laugh is phenomenal. He laughs like Frank Bruno. Like Frank Bruno. No, he laughs. Yeah. Listen, go back on YouTube and look up the Frank Bruno. He didn't do ads for like HP sauce. Yeah, and when he was
he's look again, Gav, going on everything I'm talking about this like signing. I'd imagine now that there's a personality assessment that's done on players now before Liverpool sign them, and I reckon that is as important, if not more important, than a fella's ability to play football. Genuinely, I really do, because there's no dickheads in this team. And you look at him behind the scenes and all, he loves it. He absolutely loves it. He loves it. He's taking to a duck to water. And French footballers can have a stigma attached to them that they're not normally great settlers, and they have egos, and they don't really fit into dressing rooms. They try to mould dressing rooms around them, as we've seen with some players in the past. But everybody seems to love him. You know what I mean? He seems to be a bit of a character, and he's a kid. You need to
the big thing for me, Shawnee, was he does like this Liverpool promo video with Firmino and Van Dijk. It's for some cloud storage thing, and they basically have to go hot or cold on different topics and different sayings and stuff. And you can see the confidence in him. Like, he's answering Van Dijk back. He's saying stuff now, not in a cheeky way where he's like, stepping out of his lane, but you can see, and even Van Dijk has this big respect for him, even though he's 8 years older than him, and he's probably his protege at centre half. You can see Konate standing there going, I don't like that. I don't like the Scouse accent, he said. I can't understand it, and he doesn't give a shit.
Even yesterday, like when Van Dijk goes off, he takes responsibility.
He goes basically over onto the left.
don't get me wrong, Joe was brilliant when he comes on,
Yeah, he was excellent. Yeah.
He was excellent when he came on. And look, won't have a bad word said about Matip. He's fucking excellent. And this is not to detract from Matip at all, because he's every bit as good as all the other centre-halves in the league. But he took the reins. And I don't know whether you've noticed that. I said it to Paddy. I was watching the game yesterday with Paddy and my brother Alan. And I started laughing. And they were like, what are you laughing at? I was like, look at Konate. They had a free kick towards the end of the game, I think. And he's fucking barking out orders. He's barking out orders. He's balling everybody over. And I'm saying, this kid is 22 years of age. He's overshot. He's playing in finals. And if you notice one thing, I said it to you, Gav, already, Klopp has played him in nearly every single big game.
Yeah.
Because he ultimately trusts his ability and him as a player. And even at such a young age, he could be prone to mistakes in big games like that. He's fucking class. I can't get enough of the fella, and it's frightening.
He's another one. Someone said to Fee earlier on. It's ridiculous. It's almost you want to go back to Leipzig, lads. Are you sure? Did you get it right? Like,
yeah, you need to start checking the warranty and shit.
It's a ridiculous fee we paid.
It is 36 million. Here's Roddy says Keith got a cow in his garden. He's drinking milk like he's got an endless supply of the stuff. Great show as always.
Rock and roll.
You don't skim on the milk, don't you, Keith?
No. Why would you not when you're just celebrating an FA Cup win?
Fucking right, milk everywhere. Andy O'Chill says, I agree, Shani. I think Matip has been our best centre back this season. I agree with that too. But I think when you look at Konate, it's just a progression. And do you know what? My only hope for Konate is he will. Listen, I've no issues with him making mistakes. Big games, small games, medium-sized games, he will make mistakes. That's how you learn. Virgil van Dijk hasn't gone through his whole season or his whole career not making mistakes. Joe Matip's the same. All of the big, huge centre-halves have made mistakes in their career. But him right now at 22, I think he is, just looks an absolutely phenomenal talent. Steve McDonald is I have to give Steve McDonald a shout because he's constantly telling us about Celtic. Celtic, of course, won the league title during the week. And of course, we're all Irish, so Celtic is well known around these parts. They did win the league during the week and won 6-0 against Motherwell yesterday. So as like you said there, Keith, they've won the league again. Fly the flag, isn't that what they say? So they have won the league title, and congratulations to them. Keith, no, not you. No, I'll let you go first last. Kev, talk to me about Thiago Alcantara, because before games, during games, after games, he's an absolute class act. And there was one little clip of him yesterday where he gives a jersey to a kid, which is a really class act, and then he absolutely goes bananas afterwards towards the crowd as if like he's completely bought into this. He's thrown in 2-footed challenges which were mental. He's chesting balls off as if it's fucking he's on the beach, just having a laugh in the summer. We've said it so many times, Kev, if he stays fit for the duration of this season, Liverpool have a massive chance, and it was proved again yesterday.
He's an exceptional footballer. We all know that he's an exceptional footballer. But the quote that Klopp came out with yesterday said, if I'd realised you were this good, I'd have bought you 4 years beforehand. It's like, we could have told you this, but, he didn't ask. But then apparently Thiago turned out, you taught me how to run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just, it tells you that he came in, he bought into everything. He's bought into... I always was worried that he'd come into the Premier League and it might just be too physical. That they'd kick him, the players would kick him around and he wouldn't like it, and he'd get the hump and the weather's shit and he might want to go back to live in Spain. But you see the photos of him online. His Instagram every week is of him, his wife and the kids out in and around Liverpool.
Just pushing the buggy around Liverpool, having a crack.
And he's left alone to do his thing. He's bought into everything. And it's not just about this season. I think if you're a young Liverpool midfielder and you've got him around the club for the next 2 years, if you're Harvey Elliott and you've got him around the club for the next 2 years, and you're not watching every single thing that he's doing in training and you're not doing the same, then what's wrong with you? The guy is the model professional. He's every bit as good as any technical midfielder in the last 20 years. If you want to talk about Xavi and Iniesta, they're probably that little tier above, but he's not far away. He has all the tools. He has all the tricks. You saw the passes that he was coming out with yesterday, the cutting across the ball, bringing forwards into play. And defensively, you cannot. It goes so under the radar defensively what he gives the side, how often he wins the ball back, and how much he loves the aggressive defending that I didn't think he had in his locker. I knew he was silky. I just didn't think he had that side of it. I wish we had saw him 4 years earlier, because I think he'd be better. I'm convinced he'd be better.
I think the marriage between him sitting in midfield and orchestrating, and then he rocks up at Liverpool and Klopp goes, now you're going to run loads. It's going to be the crack, and you'll have great crack doing it. And he's going, what? Fucking 29, you want me running around? Yeah, it'd be great crack. And he's absolutely bought into it. Charlie the Red says, I love Thiago, was scary amount. Absolute joy to watch.
The beauty as well of it with Thiago is that Spain, for some unfathomable reason, has decided we don't want you anymore.
Lovely.
Yeah, because Lewis Enrique enjoys missionary sex above all else. He's bought him.
Exactly, yeah.
Gareth Southgate's best mate. Keith, Thiago Alcantara. Jono says he won 9 leagues in a row, won a treble, didn't come in like he was Billy Big Bollocks. And when you watch him, Keith, I think the Barcelona thing has helped him, because it's real partisan at Barcelona, Catalan, a bit of an us against the world sort of thing. And Liverpool is a bit like that as well, where, it's Liverpool and nobody else, and everyone doesn't like us, despite what Pep Guardiola says. And he's come in there, and Keith, he's bought into it. He's had one really bad injury in his time. He's had a couple of niggles, which are expected after a long injury and a long time out. But Keith, when you watch him play, he's... some people are saying, and Kev said that he was worried it was too physical. When you're that quick in your mind and your feet and your ability to see things, like he's hitting balls, Keith, that you try on FIFA. Half volleys, whipping across, ascending at 50 yards and chesting it down. And he bangs one for Salah in the League Cup final, where it's like, what the fuck are you at? But
the semi-final, they were thinking about.
Sorry, the semi-final against City.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
He hits that one for Salah, and you're like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And Keith, he's just... There's players that have been an absolute joy. And Yari Lippmann has just come up in the chat there. I'm going to use it. He was a joy to watch. But Thiago is just another level. He's a joy to watch, but he's so integral, Keith. He's so integral.
For a player that's not fast, he's one of the fastest players in the game, because he gets the ball. Talk about being physical. They can't catch him. They can't touch him because he's away from them. That move he does is ridiculous. The drop of the shoulder, the shimmy, and going the other way.
He beat a fella by moving his head the other week.
He does it in every game multiple times, and they cannot catch him. How can they not catch him? Like, this is ridiculous. And I love the long passes, the rake and once to Salah. Them little round the corner, no lucky things that he does that go about 40 yards and go through bleeding the eye of 3 needles and into the feet of where they're meant to be. They're ridiculous passes, and they get us moving so quickly. He is a phenomenal player. We waxed lyrical about him when we thought we were getting him. It's been, injuries aside, bad season aside, we're seeing the player that we all thought... Well, we're not seeing the player we all thought we're getting, because as the lads have said, we're seeing a player that we all thought we were getting who loves a scrap, who loves a bit of defending, who loves the press, who gets up and heads balls against players that are, 4 and 5 inches taller than him. He is phenomenal, this fella. And he does it all with a smile on his face. And I have to remember as well, you're saying, Sean, you touched on it about characters, and you have to have the right character. You said it there, Gav, you playing for Barcelona and all this. Just remember, he's the son of a World Cup winner as well. And when you're the son of a famous footballer, now I know Mourinho wasn't the best footballer in the world, but he's a World Cup winning footballer, played a pivotal part in the World Cup squad in 1994. When you're the son of a legend like that, it's hard to make your own way. And he made his own way. His brother couldn't replicate it. His ma as well as... Yeah, it's good. It's a good player. Yeah, very good player. But the ma was a basketball player or a volleyball player as well. So it's just in that blood. But
Phil's probably watched all whole career.
Yeah, I'd say so. If he hasn't, he'll be watching it later. But he's just a fighter, and he has that mentality. Do you know what I mean? And he's just a joy to watch. Puts a smile on your face every time you see him. We're lucky to have him. People will try and talk him down, and will try and do this and that. Just enjoy this fella when you can, because he has everything in his locker. More goals would be nice, but when he does get them, they're lovely.
Especially.
Sorry, Shani, I'm gonna let you in. Nearly 700 people watching, just hitting the 300 likes. 3 people don't like us. If you're still watching and you don't like, let us know in the comments afterwards why you don't like. But keep hitting that like button now or on the way out or wherever way you want to. We're absolutely, there's loads and loads of people watching tonight, and we're trying to get through as many comments as we can. The comments are excellent. Shani, Thiago, bags around your ankles, I'd say, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I don't even know how he didn't see me shift already. They're on the balcony. Look, the unbridled joy that I got when we were even linked with this fella set off the bleeding 18-year-old me. He used to watch compilations of him playing for the Spain under 21s, and I'm not even joking you. All right, I swear to God, the things like a free kick he done for the Spain under 21s, I think is in the final where he just clips it out. Like, it's paid off, and you know what? The best thing about it was, I remember when we signed him, Wayne Rooney was like, Liverpool ain't gonna lose a game. And it's not the best start for him. The whole squad breaks down around him, and he has a rough time, and he gets injured, and everyone's laughing, pointing, and going, ha ha ha! Look at Thiago, and look how many thumbs up he gave, and he's another Varane. He's another player with all this ability who came to the Premier League, and it just didn't work out for him. And what a shame! And he's gonna be off, and they were even linking him back to Barcelona in the summer. And now you look, and he's going to be in the World 11 of the year next year. No doubt about it. He's up there with Modric, in my opinion, in that position. And De Bruyne. Yeah. That's just... He's fucking unbelievable. And it hasn't worn off on me yet, because I still find myself laughing in games watching him doing things that he does. Like Keith says, those passes where everyone is squared on, and then he just wraps it into the striker's feet at a million mile an hour. And yeah, he's at the playing through 6 of them, and you just laugh, you just snigger. And he just does one yesterday where he pops the ball off his chest like it's a fucking night guard with Ronaldinho. Like, the fella he's out of this world. Genuinely, and he relishes it. And you know what? Another thing I'm on saying about character, let's be honest, right? Thiago's whole career, he's won trophies everywhere he's gone. All right, like you said, he's Spain's 4th or 5th most decorated footballer, which is stupid, really, when you think about the amount of trophies that some of those Barca and Real Madrid players have won.
Yeah,
and he's right up there, right? I can imagine that you'd be quicker counting the clubs that didn't want him when we had the opportunity to sign him. He could have went to Juventus for 3 league titles. He could have went to the PSG for 3 league titles. But he said, you know what? No, fuck it. I fancy it. I've always wanted to play for Klopp. I'll go and play for Liverpool, and I'll go out there and slug it out. And the fella is on the crest of doing it all again with Liverpool. He's insane how good he is, and the level he sets. And what I love about him most is the bigger the game, the more
he is.
Yeah. Whereas that can't be said for big players.
The bigger the game, the more outrageous he'll do.
I love De Bruyne. I absolutely loved Kevin De Bruyne. And to be honest with you, I'd say about the write down a top 10 list of the best players in the world at the moment, this current moment, I'd probably put him at number 1. All right?
Yeah, he's dead.
But the bigger the game, there's been talk about him sometimes going, well, where was De Bruyne in that semi-final or Champions League final? Now, obviously, admittedly, he gets done by Rudiger last year, but he's having little or no effect on the game. This fella lives for finals. He lives for big games. He lives for pressure games, because he knows, I've been like Bane. I was born in it. Yeah. He was born into these types of games, and he's so fucking good. I'm in another WhatsApp with the lads and another group of lads, and I said, Thiago man in the match is a great bet. They were all going, I don't know. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for, I don't even think Luis Diaz is man in the match, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for Konate, in my opinion, it would have been Thiago, because he was fucking outrageous yesterday again. A serial winner, and it's rubbing off, and he's completely bought into the Liverpool thing, because you look at him now and he's a leader in the dressing room in such a short space of time, which speaks volumes, really.
Yeah, listen, he's just outrageously good, and I think, you know, Liverpool are in a bit of a tight situation now because of City's result today, and we got on to that in a few minutes, because I think that's kind of changed the decisions Jurgen Klopp may have made come the midweek game against Southampton. Before we go on, IP Vanish, I have to mention them, and people love when I mention this.
This is the
we
one
have
they're
to pay,
all waiting for.
We have
let the viewers all get in and then hit them.
Yeah,
with
he's
IP
already.
Vanish. I love it.
But listen, we have to pay the bills, don't we, Shawnee? You're head of marketing, research, and
bills, financials.
Yeah. So Shawnee said, just fucking do the thing. We have to pay the bills. IP Vanish is a VPN service that at the moment has an offer for our viewers. One touch of a button and you are protected. Data, passwords, and all that sort of stuff. You can do it on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, wherever you go. I am at home or on the move. All right. www.ipvanish.com/Daytrippers, and you will get that for $3.20 per month. For a year. So it's really good, 70% off, but it's basically you're paying for 3 months and you're getting 12. How does that sound? Here we go. Who am I going to next? Keith. Come on, I'll go back to you. I'll go Keith, Shawnee, Kev this time, right? We've gone through some of the back, we've gone through some of midfield. Salah has to go off. He's absolutely fine. We're not going to go too big into that. I want to talk about Luis Diaz, though. I thought he had a really good game yesterday, but Shawnee said something to us before this, where he said he needs his final product, you know, that final bit to improve a little bit. Are you going with that? Because I agree to a certain extent, but I think he's still playing on the fly, where Klopp is just going, whatever happens. I'll get him in the summer and we'll sort any little issues, but he's still so exciting, Keith.
Yeah, you know, you buy a player like that in January and you throw him straight in, and you just have to go with him for the 6 months. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. He's a player that was doing numbers in Portugal. Has got a few goals and assists since he's come to us, but I think he's on the cusp of doing serious, of being another one that can do big numbers now next season. You get a full pre-season into him, and you get him knowing more of what's needed and what he has to do. I think he's just going to be brilliant. He got man of the match yesterday. Yeah, there's so many players you could have given that to. Do you know, Trent, Alisson, fucking.
It was just his threat, I think. It was that.
That was it. And he stretched them.
I'll leave you last, Shawnee. I'll leave you last to give you a last bit on it. Go on, Keith.
He stretched them constantly, and he made them like they didn't have it easy. Do you know what I mean? Like every time the ball was going to him, he beats players very quick. He doesn't look like he's going fast, but he's gone by whoever he's with. Do you know what I mean? There's not many of them that can keep up with him, and I just think he's a player that excites people. He's electric. When he gets the ball, he's making things happen, and that's why people naturally gravitate to him as being an exciting player. And he got a lot of chances in that game. Chances that, you know, they weren't great chances, but he made a lot of them himself. Which one?
The one from Alexander-Arnold is a brilliant chance.
Yeah, it's a brilliant chance, but you know, he's making a nice run, but the pass gets overlooked, and that was sensational. But he's just constantly making things happen, and it's the second game now he's got man of the match in Wembley, isn't it? Doesn't he the man of the match in the League Cup final as well? The big pitch, stretching teams. Do you know what I mean? Like he's electric, but there's more to come from him, and I think that's the key with him. What we're getting out of him now, and I don't know why they don't sign more players in January and just use the second half of the season to sort of bed them in and then get them ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm excited for what he's going to be doing now next season with a full pre-season under his belt, more familiar with the teams, more familiar with his teammates, more familiar with the league, more familiar with the language, more familiar with the culture, more familiar with the referees. I think he's only going to get better and he's only going to improve, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I agree, Kev. I think he's a threat all the time. I think he is so exciting when he gets on the ball. He is one where you kind of slide to the edge of your seat going, what's he going to do here? There's a couple of times his final final ball or its shot is just off, but it's so the margins are so small. But I get Shawnee as well. You know, you look at it and you go, he probably should have 1 or 2 there yesterday. But my overriding thing with him is, it just looks to like me like he's freer than the rest. He's freer than the rest. Now, I'm not saying Klopp is absolutely nails players down and says you can't do this, this, and this, because they are quite fluid. But with him, he's more fluid than the rest at the moment. And I think actually Klopp getting a hold of him in the summer and saying, right, this is what we do, bang, 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 bang. I think you're going to see that mixture, a bit like Thiago comes in. You taught me how to run. You know, the sort of way. He's going to teach him where to pick the pass right and improve on shooting, improve on just decision making at times. The future's only bright for him because he's just, every time he gets here, like, he's just going to do something mental.
Yeah, look, I'm going to hold my hands up. I didn't see it with Luis Diaz. I genuinely didn't. I thought he was overblown for what he was. Keith was waxing lyrical about him at the Copa in South America. That he was joint top scorer. And I think he had 14 goals for Porto before joining us in the first half of the season. But then you look at the strength of the league. Is it all that? I didn't think he'd had the impact that he's had. I love a winger who can go both ways. And I think that's probably Mo Salah's biggest downfall, is that he isn't as strong on his left or right. He's predominantly left-footed and he's easier to read. Diaz is rapid. He's probably, I think he's undoubtedly the fastest forward that we have at the club at the moment. And he can go both ways. He definitely needs to improve his finishing, his decision-making, and I think working with the squad in the summer he's only going to get better. As he gets older, he's going to become a better finisher. The first chance that had to go high.
Yeah,
he gave the keeper a chance by going low, and you often I don't like watching pundits that much, but you watch Michael Owen when he talks about finishing and how strikers should finish and where they should score. He's clinical about it, and Owen is a brilliant talker about how strikers and where strikers should finish and should be able to bury chances. Diaz needs to work with someone of that ilk who knows how to finish and just help him through it. The language barrier must be difficult. He's gravitated towards Curtis Jones. Him and Curtis Jones get on really well. Tsimikas get on really well.
I don't know where that one comes from.
It's mental, but apparently,
it's like a Greek fella at a scout and a fella from Colombia, and the Colombian has no English, and he's having to listen to a Scouse accent, and it's like doesn't
it's
understand.
Rodney taking to your man Gary how he fought in the back.
Yeah, Rodney with Gary and all he feels and horses.
That's Diaz's new name now in this podcast.
Gary Diaz.
Gary Diaz.
But you can just see it with him. When he gets more comfortable with the language, I think the language is huge. Once he gets that sorted out, everything will flow from that. And plus the fact when you go into next season, it's a brand new start. You know, there's less pressure. He's coming in January, and we needed to be on a run, and we needed him to hit the ground running, and he did. He's arguably changed the course of the season for us. Because going into January, when we'd lost Mo and Sadio to the AFCON, someone had to come in and take the extra load off the players who were there. And once that happened and the results started to come, you could see how he became more important. Just having that fifth option to take the weight and to take the minutes. When we lost Bobby, having four players for 3 positions, whereas if we didn't have Diaz, if we didn't go for him in January, we'd have had 3 players for 3 positions, and it was Iron Man football then. You know, you just have to go until you break. You know, whereas now, at least with the 5 of them, you have options. I still think we need more in the summer, but look, I think you can't slight him too hard.
No, I don't think he should be too hard on him.
I just think, yes, his finishing needs to improve. His final pass needs to improve. that will come with time and experience.
He reminds me of Sadio Mane when he arrives at the club. Sadio Mane when he arrives at the club is, he's had Premier League experience. I think he's the fastest hat-trick still in the Premier League. But I don't know how good his finishing was. And Sadio Mane turns up first season to a bit of a maverick, lightning fast down the right wing, scores that goal on his debut at Arsenal, the Emirates. But you see him progress over time, and Sadio Mane turns into one of the best finishers at Liverpool, and he's probably the best finisher at Liverpool for a certain period of time. I can see the same with Diaz. I can see where they just literally have said, right, listen, we don't bet him in, we fuck him in, and we say to him, right, you just play our game. We'll mould ourselves around you a little bit. You'll have to do some work, but when you get it, just do stuff. You know what I mean? And when you see it next year, he'll still do stuff, but he'll do it in a much more, I think, purposeful way, where you will see him being better finishing, a little bit better in, decision making. And someone says there he has 11 goalless involvements in 14 games, which is absolutely brilliant. Karen Hansen says this channel is levels above most YouTube channels. I'm surprised you guys haven't reached 200,000 subscribers already. Keep up the good job, guys. We don't scream and shout. But we have decided that Luis Diaz is now Gary Diaz, and that's the shot we sort of do. So if you're into that shit, we're the one for you. Shawnee, Luis Diaz, slaughter him about yesterday, please.
No, I'm not going to slaughter him. He annoyed the life out of me because he needs to just be a little bit more arrogant, I think. There's sometimes you're watching him and you feel like I don't think he trusts his own ability, because I think sometimes he gives fullbacks the opportunity to get around. He can't live with him, and I think just sometimes he just shout him too much, and he snatches at his finishing. There is one yesterday where he gives Mendy the eyes and he gets his legs to it, but I just think he's snatching at an awful lot, trying. I think he's just trying too hard, and it's all that it has to be the perfect cut in now and whip it into the top corner for him, or it's not going to come off him. I think he just needs to settle down, because
very fair.
Everything else, he will explode eventually. There's no doubt about it. But I just think he needs to just chill out a little bit. That's all. I think he's a bit too erratic in front of goal. It doesn't seem to be any. What's the word I'm looking for? Composure. I think he lacks composure, but it'll come to him. A lot of people in the chat there, I remember when Suarez came as well. He was scuffing everything.
He hit the bar about 40 times.
Yeah. Look, it'll come from him, and the thing is, he might just light it up in the Champions League final. You can tell he's another, but I think there's an element of it there too. I think he's pinching himself, to be honest with you, waking up every day and playing with these players. I don't think he realises just how good he is yet. And I think people don't like it, but I think when he has that little bit more arrogance, that's when players really do move on to the next level.
Or even an understanding, Shawnee. Because
obviously,
more understanding with those players next season.
I agree with you saying and all, and the
pre-season and all.
The pre-season and all will help him. Definitely, no doubt about it. But I just think there's just the little bit more arrogance and that little bit when that comes into his goal, and when he's going through on goal and he's looking up, he's just passing the ball into the net. That's what'll happen, and I think that's what he has to get to. I just feel it's probably just me now. I could be completely wrong, because at the end of the day, I'm just fucking easy talking about football on a YouTube. I think he snatches at a lot of he snatches at stuff, and then I think there's sometimes then where he probably waits too long then to hit the ball. But look, if I'm doing a Champions League starting lineup tomorrow, he's first name. He's one of the first names on the team.
I would put 5 or 6 euros of Keith's money on Luis Diaz, or Gary Diaz as he's now known, on being the player of the year in England next season. That's how good I think he could be. And I find it hard.
Look, listen, I don't think nobody would take that bet off you. Nobody would refuse you that bet. You get me? I think you'd be silly to. Look,
Joe Walsh wouldn't.
I'm probably just being harsh, because to be honest with you, I'm a fucking very emotional egg. And when we're playing finals and people are wasting chances, that are worst cunts in the world, in my opinion. So That's probably just how I felt about it. I didn't think he was man of the match, though. That's the truth. I wouldn't have given him man of the match.
I think that they were just going for that excitement element when they were giving it to him. There was better performances than Diaz, but he was the one making things happen, I think. And that's more, sexy on the eye.
In a 0-0 game where you have a player that's still exciting you, I think that's where it kind of throws you over that threshold.
1-0 is a great comment there. Him and Mo are not at the World Cup next year.
I was about to say that, no World Cup for Diaz.
Mo needs to start passing to him as well, because if he doesn't start passing to Gary Diaz, we're going to have a word with him. Scott Holder says, I don't know if it's just me, but Trent's dribbling seems to have vastly improved, being really good, and if he starts going for goal, watch out. Look at his stats for goals and assists, it's fucking insane. Kev, I want you to talk to me about Tsimikas, because I was fucking... Now, don't get me wrong, I lost the plot when Mane missed that penalty yesterday, right? But I was so fucking happy that Tsimikas scored the winner, because, one, I love a left-footed penalty, right? I love a left-footed penalty. But first thing he does, he cups his ears and runs straight down to Chelsea, and I'm like, yes, you'll do for me. And I don't give a fuck if he doesn't kick another ball in anger for Liverpool. That is outstanding stuff from Kostas Tsimikas. And I was just thrilled for him. I was absolutely thrilled for him.
There was, with all of the penalties that were happening yesterday, I was like, when Trent came up, I was like, please not him. Don't let him miss. If someone's got to miss, don't let it be Trent. I could understand the Sadio one. You're up against your international teammate. He knows you inside out. You've practiced penalties.
I wouldn't have put him in.
I would have given it to Jota. And let Sadio go next. But to see Kostas come up, I thought, he strikes a lovely ball. Yeah. He's got such a lovely strike of a ball on him. I was really confident. And then, his post-match interview after, it was like, you're the Greek Scouser. No, I'm a Scouser who's Greek. Yeah. He gets it. He's another one.
He adores it, Kev. He adores it.
There's going to be a lot of talk in the summer about players who are good enough to be number ones at top clubs around Europe. Joe Gomez is one. All right. Kostas Tsimikas is another one. There is no doubt in my mind that he could play at a Juventus, at an AC Milan, and start for them. No problem whatsoever. If he was at Barcelona and you wanted to ship Jordi Alba out, Kostas Tsimikas can play for a Barcelona.
I think he starts for 19 Premier League teams. 19 Premier League teams, I include City.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I do.
He's not bad.
I think he's better than Zinchenko.
You've just put Cancelo on the right-hand side.
No, he's better than Zinchenko.
Yeah, I think he starts for Man City.
Cancelo's playing left back this season, let's be honest.
Yeah, but I would switch him over, because the problem you're having with Kyle Walker, his injury and stuff, I would genuinely play him left back.
But the thing is, Kostas has that ability to play for any club. His delivery is exceptional. It's arguably better than Robertson's. I think the only thing that he doesn't have is the variety in his delivery. His delivery tends to be one type, that whip cross. He doesn't do the floaty ones. He doesn't do the ones on the ground. And he doesn't run in behind on the inside. He goes on the outside a lot, but he doesn't go on the inside. But he's another different option to a left back. We have two different left backs who play to completely different ways, but offer the same end product. I was delighted for him that he got the goal, because it was always going to... The FA Cup has this ability to write narratives and write stories, and I thought, for me, my man of the match yesterday was Alisson Becker. I thought he was exceptional. And
he's a bit deadly, isn't he?
He's decent. He's pure decent, boy.
I absolutely shit my bags when he started holding his knee. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I actually... like Doctor Strange, and I could see the season.
I haven't seen it. Don't say it. Got to see it this week. But Kostas, I was delighted for him. I hope to God we can keep him. I think next season, and I'll keep saying it till the cows come up, 5 subs next season means that players like him, like Diaz, you got Luis Diaz next season with 5 subs. He can go balls out for an hour and know that he's coming off. Robertson can be properly rotated. you can play Costas, will get more game time. And that'll keep the whole squad a lot happier. He's too good to be just, he's the backup left back. He's too good for that. You know, I was, because of the season that he had last year, where it wasn't the case that I don't think he was
Kev, are we in the territory where the word backup disappears? It's literally just, you're just alternating them.
You are now. You have to, because
and I don't mean that in just a left back sense. I mean that in a centre back sense. I definitely mean it in a midfield sense and up front. And maybe the right back team might be sorted in the summer, but it's not back. The word backup needs to kind of disappear with this 5 subs thing.
It's a bit more of a degrading thing, isn't it? And this squad, it's not about. We don't want it to be about huge drop-offs, you know, and Tsimikas coming in. I don't agree that he's better than Robbo. Do you know what I mean? Someone said it there, Tsimikas over Robertson. He's not a better player than Robertson, but he is an excellent, excellent player. And it's another character that Liverpool brought in that raised eyebrows, that people didn't know who he was. People didn't, like, who's this fella? And they're rushing. Remember, they were fannying about for Jamal Lewis, wasn't it? And Newcastle, Norwich acting the maggot, and then straight
15
away,
million, and Liverpool said good luck.
Straight away, good luck, and then a day later or something, they're signing Tsimikas.
Keith,
another character that he knew.
Keith, I'll stick with you, because I want to ask Shawnee about the league in a minute before we leg it, right? Jordan Henderson, thought he was great yesterday. He's now, as captain of Liverpool, lifted a league title, a Europe. He's basically lifted it all. As a Liverpool captain, and I was so fucking happy for him, Keith, because he splits the opinion more than any player I've ever seen at Liverpool, and I mean that, any player at Liverpool. And he goes in there yesterday, and you know what? It was a bit of a throwback because Jordan Henderson played a long time on number 6 for Liverpool. Fabinho comes in and takes over that role, gets injured, and Jordan Henderson, although being really good as a number 8, has to go back into number 6 and shows his improvement for me at the time. Jordan Henderson is a brilliant captain at Liverpool. You know, there's arguments about his ability and should he be in the team and all. Like, listen, any real people I speak to have nothing but complimentary things to say about Liverpool. He has to go back in and do that job again. And I think that's what's lost on a lot of people. He just keeps putting himself in positions to go, I'll do that. No problem, I'll do it. A little bit like Milner does. But Keith, and I'm going to say this, and I don't really give a fuck who disagrees, right? Because I'll argue it till the cows come home. He goes down as one of the great, great Liverpool captains after yesterday.
I was about to say the same thing. I just think he's...
Were you going to say three greats or 2?
I was going to say 4 greats.
Fuck's sake.
Genuinely, listen, Jordan Henderson, I can understand why people sort of don't think he's a fancy player, and, you know, he's not a glamorous type of football player. As a captain and as a leader, he is the best captain, better than Steven Gerrard, not a better player than Steven Gerrard. Don't get me wrong, I'm not even fucking saying that. Steven Gerrard led by example in the sense that Steven Gerrard would do it on the pitch and make everyone row in behind him, right? And that's fair enough. That's a good captain. Jordan Henderson is a player who sacrifices himself constantly for his team, who everything about the fella off the pitch tells you how good of a captain he is. Do you know what I mean? On the pitch, he's a very good player. He gets so discredited so much for his on-the-pitch ability. He drops in. I thought he was excellent yesterday. Do you know what I mean? I really thought he was excellent yesterday. You miss Fabinho. We all know that. We've all said it. We'd all have chats and WhatsApps and all that. And we'd all say, for fuck's sake, Fabinho's out. Oh, no. Woe is me. Henderson steps in there and does a solid. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just so underrated. I can't I understand people think he's not a sexy player or he's not a flashy player because he's not. Oh. I cannot get on board with people who still will not give the lad credit for what he has done. He is lifting every single trophy. Every one of them. He's integral to Jurgen Klopp. These people think they know more than Jurgen Klopp. Do you know what I mean? Like, Jurgen Klopp knows what Jordan Henderson can do, and he knows what Jordan Henderson brings to the table and brings to the team. Virgil van Dijk, in every interview after Liverpool win, says, that's my captain. These all scream for Virgil van Dijk to be the captain. Virgil van Dijk will tell them, that's the captain. All these players know who the captain in that team is, and it's Jordan Henderson. And he is just phenomenal. And he's a lovely fella. Everything about him Well, I don't know, he's a lovely fella. He comes across as a lovely fella. But everything about him is the type of...
He doesn't drink enough cans for me.
Well, he's not a cans man, no. And I
Yeah.
don't know where he stands on vaping for Kev, but he's a good lad.
What do you reckon his take is on Malibu and Lucozade?
I wouldn't say it's his thing.
Malibu and Lucozade is phenomenal.
Is that your new tipple?
No, it's not my new tipple. That's going around years.
That's an old school one, is it?
It's an old school one for me, yeah.
But no, even thinking about that.
What?
I'm hungover even thinking about that.
That's quality, lads. No, normal Lucozade, none of the orange gear. Normal Lucozade. I'm delighted for him. I just...
There's a couple of nice things yesterday that you saw after the game. The way you went around to Mason Mount and spent a bit of time with him. And the way that Sadio did the exact same with Edouard Mendy. You know, you can get caught up in the moment and go and celebrate with the players. They know that that's going to happen anyway. But Jordan Henderson knows Mason Mount's a good kid. You know, and he knows that that's his fifth cup final that he's lost at Wembley. And he knows that it was his, he knows that it was his kick, and he probably knows what it's like after Kiev, how shit he feels. And that's what captains do, that's what leaders do, that's what adults do. You know, he's a decent human being first and foremost. And the fact that he drags everyone along to his standards. There was an interview that Alan Shearer did with James Milner in The Athletic, I think it is. And I saw the clip of it where they talk about, where Milner talks about Henderson. When he says, on the pitch, he's vocal, in your face, shouting at refs, where Milner's the nice, quiet one, trying to be on the ref's best side. When they're off the pitch, it's total opposite. Milner's the disciplinarian, no phones around meal times, he takes no bullshit. They're the Carragher and Gerrard 2.0. They're the ideal double act, where they're opposites, but they're the same. Their standards that they're setting for everyone that's at the club, and the harmony that they've built within the dressing room, it polices itself. You don't hear bullshit coming out of the dressing room. You don't see back page stories about Liverpool players coming out of nightclubs or taking the piss or doing shit they shouldn't be doing. They're everything that you want in a successful club. And the fact that we nearly got rid of him for Clint Dempsey. So I think it was Dylan O'Rourke. Dylan O'Rourke put in the chat, the only person who hates Jordan Henderson is Clint Dempsey.
Yeah.
You know, so we couldn't ask for a better duo in Henderson and Milner. They are consummate professionals, great footballers. Milner came on and did a proper job.
He was excellent when he came on.
You know,
yeah, he was excellent.
You know, the fact that we got the two of them for 20 million quid combined is a joke.
I think the big thing about Henderson is I see where people are coming from when they say, you know, is he going to progress into maybe a Milner role within the squad over the next year or two? And that might be the case. That's fine. I'll never compare him to Steven Gerrard because I think they're completely different in what they are. Steven Gerrard dragged them to achievements, and definitely done loads of stuff off the pitch. Henderson has more quietly went about his business and does loads of stuff off the pitch. Don't compare Liverpool captains. Just celebrate them. Celebrate them for who they are and what they've done on their own.
He's just a natural leader. Look at all that stuff in the lockdown when the footballers
and the NHS. Yeah.
He ran it. Yeah. He ran it. And like Kev said, going around to all the England lads, look, the best compliment I can give Jordan Henderson is he's Jurgen Klopp on the pitch.
100%.
And he's a fucking Liverpool legend. A bona fide Liverpool legend.
He goes down as a Liverpool great. Is Liverpool great captain?
Oil shed tears when he does walk away because he's a fucking legend. He gave absolutely everything to the club. He had a manager who was trying to fuck him out and he dug in, and every single manager he's ever had has picked him.
Yeah.
Every single manager he's ever had has picked him. And if you have ever doubted him or bad-mouthed him or slandered him on fucking social media, shame on you because you're a fucking arsehole. You're the similar. You're the same type of
thing. But Shawnee, I
know football about football, and I seen your man and Anthony O'Chill put in one day that fucking Stephen Howson said he's a margarita footballer. Well, guess fucking what? You can't have You can't have margarita. You can't have pizza without fucking margarita, and you need it. That's a fucking fact. And you don't win trophies. You don't win trophies without a Jordan Henderson in your team, without James Milner's in your team, because you fucking need them. Not tenfold.
Who's Stephen Howson?
The wanker Man United fan.
Doesn't matter.
Is he the fella involved in the predictions video last week?
No, that's the other fella.
Oh, that's the other fella.
He does the podcast with Rio Ferdinand. He does rate a pod with Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah, okay, right. Less said the better.
Just be sucking the guilt off Ferdinand.
Less said the better. 6 likes off 400 likes. Fair play to you. 4 people don't like. As I said, leave it in the comments afterwards, and we try to improve what we're doing. 700 people watching. Shawnee, Auntie O'Chill says, and we better finish up because we're an hour and a half in, and lads have work in the morning. But he says Henderson will lift number 20 next weekend. Mark my words. Shawnee, you're a little bit horny. Come on, Shawnee.
No.
Come on, Shawnee. Shawnee, walk with me, Shawnee.
No, stop. I'm going to say it for the sake of a podcast. Fuck off, lads. They are going to pump Villa into next week. Don't be stupid.
Bollocks now.
Seriously, honestly.
I think they
will. I think they will as well.
Fucking pump Villa at home. They'll pump them on. Villa are absolutely shite.
The psychology, Shawnee. That's what I'll get them. That's what I'll catch them.
Pep's head for a week.
Shawnee, I'll put it to you different, mate. Because I think you're right. I think City will go and absolutely take Villa apart. But we have 2 trophies in the bag. We're still in the Premier League going into the last day of the season. And when you look back at January and 14 points and games in hand and all this sort of messing, I think it's fucking brilliant that it's going down to the last day. And people will dread it and go, oh, me nerves. I'm not. I'm all up for it. You know what I mean? Let's all get on board and have a great day regardless. But Shawnee, this next, we've Southampton during the week. We have to make big decisions over who plays and who doesn't, and we have Wolves, and then we have Real Madrid. But Shawnee, the league is still going into the last day of the season, right? But it's not going to define our season, isn't it? Not because I'm all up for the quadruple. You know me, and I'm willing to be laughed at the end of the season. When people go, "Oh, you only won 3," laugh away. But Shawnee, it actually won't define our season next weekend.
It won't. It fucking won't. And that, this is the annoying thing, Liverpool bottle. And I've seen people today, if we had beaten Spurs, we'd be a point ahead. Fucking rubbish talk. We're going to do 90 points again. There's literally fuck all else we could have done. They're in the red zone, these players. And if you're disappointed when we don't win the league, it's your own fault for buying into the hype created by the TalkSports and the BTs and the Skies of the quad this, quad that. They only build them up to knock you down.
And me. It was my fault. My fault more than any of them.
It's stupid to get tangled up in that. This squad of players are probably going to put arguably the greatest season in the club's history together if they go out and win a European Cup. And people are turning around and go, well, you didn't win them all, or it'll be something like, fucking you 2 penalty shootouts and you beat a shipment. Who gives a bollocks? They do everything to detract. So don't get sucked in and don't feel down next week if you don't get 20 over the line, because it's not far off. That's just the way it is. People say this is the end of the season coming up.
Book reckons Gary McAllister's going to score the winner. For Villa.
You hold on to these things and people throwing
Danny Ings and
just fucking stop this. They're going to get
all we can do is keep them honest. All we can do is keep City honest. And we've done that.
No, you're right, Kev. Yeah, you keep them honest. You're right.
I'm being honest with you. The European Cup is well now.
It's been out of our hands since we drew the derby. Once we drew at the Etihad, not the derby. Once we drew at the Etihad, it was out of our hands. We had to win that. Ever since then, it was keeping them honest, keep on their tails, and see what happens. The fact that it's even going to the last day, bearing in mind we
have to win during the week, as someone pointed out to me there.
I think we will. Look, I think we'll do our bit. I don't think Southampton have enough to hold us up. I think we'll beat Villa, or we'll beat Wolves. If that's not enough, if 92 points isn't enough, fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing a title to Man City on the last day of the season. Bearing in mind that we've won 2 out of our 3 finals and we've still got a third one to go. We're guaranteed to be in Charity Shield at the start of next season, and beat Real Madrid, we're in the World Club Cup again.
What's the story of that, actually? When is that going to be played?
Listen, they probably playing at half time in the World Cup quarter final.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I think it's pushed further back. Is it in January or something?
yeah, but it's gonna be fucking insane.
February
like,
or something.
they should have just. They can't expect you to play leagues, World Cups at Christmas, and then go into World Club Cups in January and stuff. It's fucking insane. But Keith, Shawnee's like, no, Villa will be pumped. And listen, all things being equal, City do sort Villa out at the weekend. We have to beat Southampton. We've big decisions to make, but it doesn't define us, Keith. And I think that win yesterday has kind of taken a bit of pressure off in the league for me. I don't know why, but it's kind of like, where you might think the league's gone and you lose an FA Cup final, you're going, oh, for fuck's sake, we've only won and we're going into the big one on the 28th of May. Me and Shawnee are going for a few Guinness that day, aren't we, Shawnee? And Keith, I'd say. But it won't define us, Keith, and I think that's the most important thing.
No, and that's there was always that fear, and this is why psychology and momentum and things like that, non-tangible things that you can't quantify, do you know what I mean, is what's coming into play here. Liverpool dropped points against Spurs, and that should have been enough for Man City to get over. Now, City have been excellent since they went out of Champions League. They smashed the arse off everyone they've played. And then today, they come back from 2-0 down, they get a penalty to get themselves to win the league, and they blow it. They shouldn't be going to the last day. Do you know what I mean? This league should not be going to the last day. Now, I know Shawnee's looking and he's not having it, and I understand that.
You're not actually making me a bit horny, shut up.
Yeah,
I understand this.
Don't be sweet. Shawnee will end up, I tell you, Shawnee will end up with Liverpool flags all hanging out the window next Sunday, I'm telling you.
But no, something you said there, lads, was Liverpool just have to do what Liverpool have to do and not worry about it. But there is a very real possibility now that Liverpool beat Southampton on Tuesday night. They go to the last day with City. We all expect City to smash Aston Villa. So there's no real, I'm not going to be bleeding stressing out, looking and checking on the score in the City game. Do you know what I mean? I'll watch the Liverpool game. Oh, no, I will check it. Don't get me wrong, I will check it. But I won't be bleeding like refresh.
Hammered the milk out.
I won't be. The milk will be getting slaughtered. The tin whistle will be out and all to keep.
Big Avamar van outside.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think whatever happens now happens on the last day of the season. Obviously, as the game goes on, you say it all the time, Shawnee, get to 60 and let's see what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Let's see where City are at 60. If I go on at 60 and City are 4-0 up, the league is gone. Do you know what I mean? But let's see where they are.
Look at Villa's front three, or Watkins and Ings can cause them problems. They have to pay.
Yeah, I know, but you have that Mongo at the back.
You're never going to keep clean sheets. You'll never keep a clean sheet against City, but they can't.
The only way it happens is the only way it happens, like a bit like Keith said, 60. You look at 70. You probably look at 80, and Villa are 1-0 down, and you're saying there's a chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have got links there in Ings and Coutinho, and there's a bit of, and we've seen stranger things happen. That Aguero thing is the strangest thing that's ever happened in the Premier League.
That was a fix, but that was all a fiddle.
Do you know what I mean?
That was a fix.
But
the killer for Villa, is they got to play Burnley Thursday night.
Yeah,
and they don't have the squad to play 2 games in 3 days.
So just send out
kids.
It is what it is.
Just ring Andy Gray and bleeding. What's his name? Dwight York, and see if they want the game on Thursday night, and then send out the real lads on Sunday. But look, come here and I tell you, we've had a great season.
Exactly.
Doing this, it's a ridiculous season. We've won it. We've won a League Cup. We've won an FA Cup. We're in the Champions League final. If we win on what day is the Southampton game? Tuesday. If we win on Tuesday night, we get down to the last game of the season. We're playing every single possible game we could play.
Is it Sunday or Saturday last day?
Sunday.
Always Sunday, isn't
Sunday,
it? They always put it for
4
Sunday.
PM, I think, is all games. I think. But we go down to the last day of the season, and you never know. I remember in 2019, Brighton score, and you're like, whoa. Then Liverpool score, and you're like, fuck me. Yeah. And then Brighton just don't hold on long enough to.
It's a few minutes only.
Yeah, it's only a few minutes, and you're level. But tell you something. I was in Liverpool that weekend, and the City was on wheels that night. Even though Liverpool hadn't won the title, the place was on wheels. It was unfucking believable, and it was. That's why I say it doesn't define us, because I was in Liverpool that night hadn't lost the league title by a point. We're waiting so long to win a league title, but it didn't. You could see every Liverpool fan in pubs going, "It's all right. We're going off to Madrid now. We're going to win the bleeding European Cup. I'm telling you, it's grand." And Liverpool are like that. Liverpool will be literally. I promise you, if Liverpool don't win the league title next season, next week, if you're in Liverpool, you get every Liverpool fan standing outside pubs, having cigarettes, having drinks, grabbing a bit of food before they go back in and having another few points, and they'll all be saying, "It's grand. Paris, we'll do it in Paris." You know what I mean? There's always the next thing, and that's the beauty of what Jurgen Klopp has built. It's not the be all and end all. It's right, that didn't happen. Well, we've another one next week, and that's what he's created this club. Every single time you think something's over, it's not, because there's another one next week, and then we're looking at pre-seasons, and we're looking at how good will Diaz be, what we bring in Tchouaméni, or we bring in this player, or that young lad from Aberdeen, what would he be like? And when we get to the start of next season, we'll all be sitting here going, they're their business. The Reds are their business, and we just go for it again. I don't know how long we're going to survive, to be perfectly honest with you. You know what I mean? Me and Keith are knocking on a bit. Kev is the same. Sean, he's fucking really young. He's probably going to want to.
He'd be carrying the torch for us long after we're dead.
Yeah. We'd be all on a fucking intravenous drip somewhere, but we'd have a fucking great time doing it. That has been a fantastic show, an hour and 40 minutes. Féileacáin is our charity partner. Somebody the other day put in a donation of over 500 quid, which blew me mind when I seen the email coming in. But we're closing in on $5,000, which is halfway there. Our golf day is in just under 4 weeks, I think it is now. But the link is in the description for Féileacáin to look up their website or to donate. Take them both, send them to your friends, family, colleagues. Donate if you can yourself. If you can't, just send it all off and let people decide themselves. But trust me, if you read about this charity, you will donate to it, because it's a fantastic charity. It's voluntary, and €10,000 will literally fund this place for years. And do you know what? When we reach the 10 grand, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with some people from Féileacáin. I'm going to sit down with them. Keith knows a couple of people that are involved. Yeah. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a drink. We're going to bring all our equipment to wherever we need to go. We're going to try and make it a pub, because me and Keith are alcoholics. And we will sit down with these people. We'll talk to them about what the charity is, what it's about, what the 10 grand will do for them, and just what they do on a day-to-day basis, which is amazing, to be perfectly honest. And I can't wait for that show. I can't wait for me to tell Keith, we've reached the 10 grand now. Let's organise going down to meet these people and talk to them, and exactly what that 10 grand will do. So, as I said, I give all the trophies back to get to that 10k, and you know that. And Shawnee knows I'm not lying, and Keith's the same, Kev. And I think we all would, because I think this podcast and this YouTube channel, or whatever you want to call it, we don't kick, we don't scream, we don't, just say stuff for the sake of staying, for attention. We get on here, we talk about football, but most importantly, I think overall, is that you meet friends, you build relationships, but you help people. And if you can help people and have a good time doing it, I don't think there's any better mix. I really, really don't. So, from me and all the lads at the LFC Daytrippers, when we get to that 10 grand, it will be the biggest achievement of 2022, in no matter what way you want to throw it or anything, because that's what we're all about. Keith, Kev, anything else before we go? Because Keith will probably start singing when I ask him.
This is it now. This is the last week. Last week of the league. 2 more games. Tuesday night. I'm looking forward to seeing the lineup, because I haven't a clue what he's going to do. And that is exciting, because we don't know what to expect. We don't know who's going to line up. But I know whoever lines up is going to give it a right go. And it's going to be a great game. It sets it up. We've set it up for a decider. It's fantastic, man. It's great.
Chris Brack says final women's show of the season is now live to watch. It is on our YouTube channel. It's also available to download. Loved having the opportunity to host the women's show this season. Can't wait for next season back in the WSL. Liverpool, of course, promoted, and Chris will be like really horny about that.
Did you tell him that he's getting sacked from the women's show now that they're back in the Premier League?
Yeah, Kev's taking over the women's show. And Shawnee, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I just can't wait for the season to be over. I'm fucking
sick of it.
I'm actually messed down me fucking burning.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just been a blow, hasn't it? Literally from I remember we did the show after the Carabao Cup final, and we were like, I think we all agreed is that we were like, this is it now. This is the run in.
Yeah.
And
it's been the longest run in ever, hasn't it?
No,
it's just relentless.
Yeah, like and it's been a blow. I can't wait until it's over, literally, to just watch it all back with a clear head. You know, when you know all the outcomes and stuff like that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, even if we were to lose the Champions League final and don't win the league, it would still be the most I've ever enjoyed a season of football.
I think it's top 13, 14 for me now.
Yeah, because and there you go. Like you say, 13, 14, Gab, and we didn't get over the line, but the memories are what make it. And like, it's always about the journey. Always about the journey.
Yeah.
And it's rolling on, but this is just we're just closing the book on a different chapter now of the story, because if you think we're going away,
we're going nowhere.
We're going nowhere. And that's what I'd say to people now that probably might feel a bit dishevelled of City win the league next week. They probably feel a little bit down, or you probably be like, oh, for fuck's sake, just drink it in, because they're highly unlikely that it's going to ever get better than this.
Keith, anything else before we go?
No. Look, I echo what Shawnee has said there. You know, this season has just been, it's mad stressful the more successful you are, isn't it? Remember, we were shit, and you'd give up on things. Do you know? Not that you'd give up, you'd have nothing to play for in the season, and you're stressing out about making top fours and all that. Now we're stressing out about doing a quadruple. That shouldn't still be available, but is still available. And we've 2 in the bag. We've 2 more to come. If Liverpool win this, somehow win this, it's going to kill it. It's going to kill all us, right? Liverpool fans. I don't know how we're going to react. It's going to kill everyone else.
If I am sponsored by Malibu and Lucasade, if they win this, I'll never be.
Be pickled in Malibu and Lucasade after a few weeks.
Lying in the bath of it.
Yeah, because this is just going to be
your bath and your gaff, just lying there.
No problem. Fill your boots, not a bother. But you know what? Like it's literally, I can't even fathom what it's going to be like, because to win 2 already has been a brilliant season. Shawnee said, if we don't win the next 2, it's been a brilliant season. We can go on to greatness. Like I'm involved. You know what I mean? These lads.
I get that at home. Did you play it?
Keep ringing the club every Thursday, going, right, lads, listen, you need to win this weekend, right?
Hold on. We had a good year on the Daytrippers.
It is win.
Yeah. And that's the day. It is win. Exactly.
And you feel fucking part of it. So that's the thing. You're attached to it. So it is win. Like,
exactly.
You know, people love you when you say that.
The attachment is ridiculous, though. You're right, Shawnee. You just get absolutely stressed out your bracket.
Yeah, but you see everything in this team that you see. It's like looking at a mirror sometimes. You see Klopp. He's like us. You see the players in the dressing room after. Yeah. It's like probably half of the pubs in Dublin and Liverpool yesterday after the game. The dressing room, the same vibe. Thiago had a can in his hand.
Yeah, I love that.
But every win, it's one kiss, it's Robin S, it's fucking.
They didn't even play Never Walk Alone yesterday.
No.
Yeah, no. Just banging out the tunes, the sort of stuff, as you say, that you'll hear in the pub and all that, and the boys are all dancing and running them up. And that's what it is. That's what Klopp has done. He's created that. He's given, sounds cheesy or whatever, but when he said this, doubters to believers, shy, and they went to the crowd at West Brom and clapped, and everyone laughed and mocked it. It's all been building up and building up and building up. It was getting the fans back, the club back with the fans. And this is the culmination of it all now. And it's, you know, what a time to be a fucking Liverpool fan. This is just unbelievable. And enjoy whatever happens. Enjoy it.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm optimistic we're going to win all 4. Still am. If they don't win it, they don't win it. But let's just give ourselves a chance. 2 weeks ago, we were out with this title race and Everton were safe. And now they're both going down to the last day, possibly, or last week at least. You know what I mean? Both have midweek games that can decide that. You know, anything can happen.
Coleman scored and diving headers at the Gladys Street end was great.
Yeah.
Macker says, Gav, you playing golf today? You're very rare. I was. Struck the ball extremely well. Putting was terrible. So a bit to work on. There's an update for you. That has been the Fatback 4. We've kept you for 1 hour and 49 minutes. But it has been thoroughly enjoyable from start to finish. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to Keith. Thanks to Shawnee. We will be back tomorrow with a cop update and winners and losers. Me feeling dick, I think, tomorrow night. So, if you all throw a few quid in the fucking Telegram there, we'll get Dicko signed up some sort of internet. That has been it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.